So I'm getting this up a little bit later than I usually do. Just ended up going to bed kind of late last night, had a little bit to drink, and I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was feeling completely dead. So I decided to just wait until 8 a.m. this morning to actually watch it. It's currently closer to 9 a.m. right now as I'm filming this, but let's go ahead and talk about the latest episode of The Bad Batch. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, my name is Anthony A. Perez, and I talk about all things movies, TV, Star Wars, and all other fun stuff here on the channel that has to do with movies. And we're going to be talking about the latest episode of The Bad Batch called Decommissioned. I believe this is the 6th episode, and yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Found it to be a really good time. Again, another episode where the Batch is doing something in order to kind of get them to the next step, but there's definitely some things to talk about in this episode. Now, I do want to mention I will be getting into spoilers, so that's your warning. Let's go ahead and get right into this. This episode opens up with Omega training with her bowcaster that we saw her get in the last episode. And in the last episode, that one very much felt like a filler episode. And in a lot of ways, this one did as well. But it definitely started pushing things forward just a little bit, or at least started to introduce some more intriguing elements. Whereas last week's episode felt a little bit more filler heavy, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. But yeah, Omega ends up getting what I assume is going to be her weapon moving forward, this bowcaster in the last episode. And at the beginning of this episode, she's training with it, so it's nice to see her training under the Bad Batch and learning to, have that consistency and the aim that clone troopers are known for. So yeah, I really enjoyed seeing her have to deal with that throughout the course of the episode. And then we have the Trandoshan Sid from the last episode sending the Bad Batch on a mission to receive or to recover the head of a tactical droid in order to get some information that's on there. When they get to the planet that they need to get to in order to get this tactical droid, they end up running into some trouble, and two individuals that are also going after this head. Turns out that those two individuals are Rafa and Trace, the sisters from the final season of the Clone Wars. Now, depending on who you are, you may or may not like that, because I know that they weren't the most beloved characters from that season, but I enjoyed them for their time that they were on screen in that season, and it was nice to see them again here in a really cool episode with a lot of great action and a lot of great little moments between characters. Overall, this is a very action-heavy episode, and it felt very much like it was about kind of pushing some stuff forward, but mainly focusing on some of the action and just the adventure, while again slowly pushing forward the narrative. The biggest things to really take away from this episode are the fact that Omega is definitely becoming more comfortable with her bowcaster. Near the end of the episode, she's definitely showing some more skills there, and this is definitely going to be her weapon. So I can already see all the fan art that's going to start to build around this character, the cosplay. I feel like Omega is definitely going to be one of those characters that you see a lot more at cons as time goes on, especially Star Wars Celebration. But yeah, it was cool to see Rafa and Trace back again. I liked them in the final season of the Clone Wars. I enjoyed the purpose that they played in the story. These two characters that kind of have this checkered background, one that was super naive and one of them that kind of was incredibly cocky, incredibly confident, but maybe didn't really necessarily deserve to be. And so yeah, I enjoyed their journey with Ahsoka and their kind of recontextualization of what a Jedi is, even though at the time Ahsoka wasn't a Jedi, but she was the most Jedi that any other Jedi had been for these characters. So overall, I enjoyed their characters when they were in the Clone Wars, and I enjoyed seeing them here. The Batch is great, and another big moment to talk about in this episode for sure is that we see Wrecker have to leap over a pretty big distance at one point. He swings on this hook, ends up bashing his head on the other side, and ends up passing out. But as he's passing out, we hear him start to mumble the words, "Good soldiers follow orders." The same words that we've heard many clones and Crosshair say on many occasions because of the inhibitor chip. Over the course of the last few episodes, we've seen him complaining about a headache, and it's clear that something was happening with his inhibitor chip, and we're starting to see that fall into play here. The episode at the end doesn't give us any indication that he has gone full Order 66, but we do see that the inhibitor chip is starting to activate, and it makes me wonder if we're going to start to see that happen with all of the clones over the course of the show, maybe leaving Omega to be the final clone who does not have to deal with this and maybe, saves the day. Very curious to see where they take the rest of the show. Overall, really enjoyed it. Once again, you have fantastic voice performances from everybody on the show, but I have to praise Dee Bradley Baker for all the great work that he does on the clone characters. But beyond that, I really enjoyed the animation once again. And at the end of the episode, we see that Hunter has chosen to give Rafa the data that they were able to take from the tactical droid that was now destroyed at the end of the episode. The reason that they choose to do this is because because Rafa's talking to him about the fact that the information was for the people who are fighting against the Empire, and Hunter feels like giving them the data is the right thing to do, that they're going to do the right thing with the data. We then see Rafa and Trace take off, and they end up pulling up a hologram, somebody that they're going to speak to, and they let them know about this rogue group of clone troopers and where they can find them. And they say that this person is likely interested in finding out where these clones are. So from the back and just the corner, you can kind of see there's like a brownish, kind of whitish outfit. Made me think if they're fighting against the Empire, maybe Mon Mothma, but my assumption has to be that it's Ahsoka because of their connection from the last season of the Clone Wars, and I have to assume maybe this will bring Rex into the show. So my guess is that we're going to see Ahsoka appear on the show. I think just further setting up her character for her solo show and just being able to give us that balance of live action Ahsoka and animated Ahsoka. I can't help but feel like she's going to be in the show, but I guess we'll see. Definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Overall, enjoyed the episode, found it to be a good time. I'm hoping that the next episode is really pushing the overall narrative a little bit more. You know, a little bit less about the action and the adventure and a little bit more about the story. In no way, shape, or form does that mean that this episode or the last episode was bad. I just simply want to kind of start pushing forward the story a little bit more and get back to Crosshair and everything that's happening with the Empire and kind of them slowly turning from the clones into stormtroopers. That's something I'm really interested in seeing in the show. They did that with the first couple episodes, and they've kind of steered away from that here, so definitely want to get back to that very soon. But overall, really enjoyed the episode and can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. So The Bad Batch episode 6, Decommissioned, really enjoy it. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. Hit that like button, comment for more videos, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.